Alrighty, people. Welcome to a very different video that I was planning to do this video for a significant amount of time, but every time I tried to set up the camera and talk, it never really seemed to work out, and it never really seemed to be a good time, and I'd always get my words muddled up. But right now, I'd say that I'm in a good, relaxed mindset, and I'm very much prepared to talk about my story surrounding anxiety and depression, how that could have come about, and generally my beliefs surrounding anxiety and depression. So without further ado, let's get into this video, and I hope that anyone who's listening to this who is actually suffering with anxiety and depression may learn something. So you can listen to this at work, you can listen to this in your car, when you're relaxing of an evening. You, like I said, you might learn something. You don't just have to look at the video screen and look at me. You can just go about your day-to-day task and just listen, and I'll be happy to share with you my story. So I will be smoking a cigarette at the same time, so if you hear me toking and lighting it up, I hope that's not going to be too much of an issue. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into this. So the first ever time I experienced the symptoms to do with anxiety and depression was early of 2022, where I was seemingly tired all the time, and I really didn't have a passion that I once had. And I noticed this straight up. I noticed that I was a bit glum, a bit down in the dumps, and I didn't really know why. But I did just have a death in the family, and that hit me quite hard. And my family is extended in also many different ways. I've got people who are family who are not even blood. I've been accepted into their families, so all I can say is it was a death in the family. And when I got this news, I was very much reminded of my own mortality. And one of the visions that I had, and one of the thoughts I had, and for anyone that knows me knows I've got a very vivid imagination. One of the fear things that I had was an hourglass that was tipped up the other way, so the sand was falling to the bottom of the glass, and I would see that the sand was falling through the glass, and I myself was losing time. So this death in the family was a really big reminder of my own mortality, and knowing that there was going to be that end point, that when that last grain of sand falls through the hourglass, your life is done. And that to me was a very, very scary thought, because death is something that is part of everyday life, but it's really difficult for anyone to just comprehend that one day they're just not going to exist anymore. Some other people have a good time accepting that, and they're just like, it's fine. Other people, not so much. Other people, this is a very scary thought indeed. Something that, just makes you want to grab a load of your hair, curl yourself up into a ball and go, oh my days, I'm going to die. And this was very much me, grabbing my hair, ducking down, I'm going to die, I'm going to die one day. Physically, not actually grabbing my hair and ducking down, but I might as well have been mentally. And I was beginning to become more mentally weak, and just falling down into this pit of becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. And after a while, I actually really started to worry about my health. I was worrying that I had some disease that was going to make the end point come quicker. I worried that I had a blood clot or cancer or some other thing, some health-related issue that was going to affect my life in some way, and take it eventually. And this became from a worry into an obsession. I was obsessing over my health, and this took its very good toll on Tash. Let's say, Tasha being my fiance, she was having to deal with me constantly asking health related questions, until one day she turned around to me and she said, I think you need to go and talk to someone about these worries, because these are now becoming quite obsessive things. You're very much worrying about a lot of things to do with your health, and your physical fitness and stuff like that. So eventually, after a while, I spoke to a doctor on the phone who referred me to an NHS therapist therapy scheme, and I had to wait 18 weeks for that. And in fact, it was longer than 18 weeks. That 18 weeks was just the waiting time that they expected that they was actually going to see me, but I actually ended up waiting a lot longer than 18 weeks. So I was stuck just waiting for this time where my therapy would begin, and I took it upon myself to be like, I'm going to try and fix this thing, I'm going to really try and fix it, and let's see if I can't make some improvements over a course of time. So as the time went on, I started to try and meditate more. During meditations, I'd panic. I couldn't go into shops after a time because I'd panic. I became very disassociated and derealized. That's a very scary thing. I started victimizing myself a lot over past experiences, and I'd like to share one of the some of the past experiences with you now, just maybe so you guys get a build up of maybe just what my past was kind of like. Now, I've done a video talking about the past with my father that I don't really feel I need to go into. Now, going into the realms of my ex. Now, this is the first time I'm actually coming forward, and oh, my low battery sign's just come up. This is the first time I'm actually coming forward and actually talking about the situation that happened with my ex. And what happened with my ex was, I'd like to say, in the first stages of that relationship, it was very, very toxic. And when I look back on it now, I didn't realise it at the time, but when I look back on it now, I was chasing her because I kind of felt like, she showed me some interest, and not many women were showing me interest at this time of my life. So I was like a teenager crossing over into my 20s at that point. And not many females were showing me attention at that time. So, when this one girl was showing me attention, I clung on to that kind of like a leech. I was like, oh, this girl showed me attention, I need to cling on to that. And it all amounted down to that I didn't have respect for myself, so I'd leech onto that. And as time went on, just not to go into it too much and talk about the entire 4 years, as time went on, I thought that she was the one, but things were very, very toxic. Like, she was going behind my back doing a lot of stuff. She was starting to, like, hide her phone from me, and I started to get very suspicious and very paranoid, and she made out that I was the one that was insane, that I was the one that had a real big issue, and that I was suffering from paranoia, and it's all in my head, she's not hiding anything from me. And I just thought, oh, maybe I'm going insane. So as time went on, it actually turned out that she was sleeping with one of my best friends at the time, behind my back. And I thought that this guy was a brother, but he went behind my back. He hurt me quite badly, and she hurt me quite badly. And I have recovered from it, but I've never forgotten the lesson from that. I've never forgotten just how fucked that situation was. So I ended up putting a lot of trust in me and in number one, and I broke up with her, and so she went away. And I must admit, I was quite excited when she first went away, because I was like, I'm free of this toxicity, and I know that I'm in command of this ship now, and so I just hit it hard. I ended up getting into the whole drugs thing. I ended up drinking. I got involved with some motorcycle people, let's just say that. They're not bad people. The club are not bad people, I will just say that now. The club are in no way, shape or form bad people. They're very good people, and I will quite happily sit here and say that now. I should not say the name of the club, simply because of privacy reasons. I'm not about to sit up here and talk about the club, but I will certainly say there were some members in that club who are no longer members, who sort of like took advantage of the fact that I was very angry at the world. So they were like, yeah, Josh, come along, fall in with us. So yeah, that's the basic story there. And anyway, walked away from that, walked away from that life, closed the doors on it. You know, after meeting Tash, and I just distanced myself away from it, realizing that, you know, I now found someone else who was showing me interest, and who was respecting me as a person and loving me for who I was, and just generally like knew the real me and not the persona that I was giving off, because I was definitely giving off a persona of a tough guy attitude, or at least someone with their barriers up. You know, it wasn't the fact that I was playing a part, it was the fact that I generally didn't give a fuck, you know. I throw myself into a lot of situations that probably in this day and age I can't believe I threw myself into. But I did, because I didn't give a fuck. And as time went on, you know, I distanced myself from that life, and I obviously come down with the first symptoms of anxiety and depression and stuff like that, and you know, started victimizing myself a lot. Like I said, you know, victimizing myself, thinking that I'd had it really bad throughout life, and thinking that, you know, things are really shit, and you know, why is shit things got to happen to me? You know, why have I got to feel like this and all the rest of it? And I had my first therapy session, and because the therapy people got into contact with me after the set amount of time, we're talking like this was like a fair few months, and they got into contact with me, and they had my first session, and the first thing I said to the therapist is, am I insane? Is this all in my head? You know, and she was like, no, you know, this isn't all in your head, it's okay not to be okay. And I was like, cool. So, you know, I kind of feel like during those first times with with the therapy, I kind of felt like, you know, oh, it's okay not to be okay. You know, I'm suffering. Other people need to understand this. They need to walk on glass around me. Without even thinking that directly, that was my main thought, because I had been told that yes, in fact, I was a victim, and yes, in fact, I was suffering, and you know, that was okay for me to be a victim and to have all this. So you know, I really just use that as a way to point the finger at other people, and I point the finger at other people quite a lot of the time. I'm not where I want to be because of this person. I'm not where I want to be because of that person. I'm not where I want to be because of everything. You know, just point the finger all the time. It was never my fault. It was always other people. Yeah, granted, I'd had a rough time, but like I said, I was using that as an excuse. And so, as time went on, I was literally looking at anything and everything online. I was looking at all sorts of videos online to try and come up with that one answer, that one thing. I thought I must be doing something wrong because it's staying around. I'm doing something wrong. And all these videos regarding mental health was, it's okay, you're a victim, it's okay, you're a victim. So all the time I was getting fed that I was a victim, and that was it. You know, I was a victim. It's not my fault, it's other people's, sort of thing. You know, it's not my fault, it's my past. And it wasn't until, now I am going to say this, and I know there is a lot of controversy surrounding Andrew Tate, and I know that as soon as I mention his name, people wince and go, oh, no shit. But try and look at it in a way of, I took what he said in a very positive way, and I added some things to my life that was said by him in a very positive way. I've added some things that Jesus has said to my into my life in a very positive way, and what God has said into my life in a very positive way. Even some things that my lovely fiancée Tasha has said to me, and I've added those things into my life. What my mother has said to me, what my older sister has said to me, and added all those things into my life in a very positive way. So I'm a very collective person. I'm not just going to put my sole faith in someone. So, you know, don't think for a second, people, that, oh yeah, this is, you know, Josh has just been completely indoctrinated by the teachings of Andrew Tate, you know, because I listened to also Jordan Peterson as well. But there was one thing that Andrew Tate said on his on one of his podcasts. He said, if you don't like where you are, if you don't like the situation that you are in, you fucked up. And of course I heard this the first time. I fucked up. How did I fuck up? You know, I didn't fuck up. It was the other people in my past. They're the fucking shit cunts. They're the ones that fucking done this to me. I would be so much better off if I didn't meet those people. And then the problem was exposed to me. The problem that I didn't realise I had, and that was being a victim. And the very moment that I stopped being a victim was the biggest change in my attitude and my outlook on life. The first moment I stopped being a victim, and I started saying, no, it's my fault. I had a rough time in the past, but the way I dealt with that was my fuck up. I turned to drugs, I turned to drink. That was my fuck up, you know? And then after all the time victimizing myself, again, that was also where I fucked up as well. Making excuses for not progressing as well. This, you know, the first moment that I actually looked inwardly and took responsibility for the way I was feeling, instead of shifting the blame, I'm a victim, it's someone else's responsibility. You know, the first moment I'd done that, it started opening doorways to other avenues as well. So I was opening doorways, saying I'm also making excuses for not progressing, and then lots of things were exposed to me where I realised I started being lax on my work. I'd lost my passion for my relationship. I wasn't being as good to Tash as I should have been. You know, I wasn't being as good of a person as I say good of a person. I wasn't doing as well in my life as I thought I was doing, because the whole being a victim was very much clouding my judgment on a lot of things, and I didn't realise it until I'd actually stopped being a victim. The moment I stopped being a victim is the moment that everything changed. The moment that everything changed and I started having a really positive outlook on life. So I started listening a lot to Andrew Tate and some of his things that he was saying, and you know, he has some very, very good points. I'd like to say at least like 90% of what Andrew Tate says is very much true, but there is that 10% that I don't agree with, because I would never follow anything except for God 100% in life. You know, I will always have a different opinion, and I will always, you know, glorify my difference in opinion. But a lot of what he was saying as well, which was like, go to the gym, you know, stop wasting time. Don't just sit down every day. Do something productive. You know, make sure you're getting your vitamins, and you know, make sure that you're putting in the hard work, because then you can reap the benefits of your hard work and reap the rewards. Because if you work hard, you're going to get rewards. You know, and I realized as well that through victimizing myself, I was kind of expecting everything to be handed to me on a silver tray. You know, I'm a victim. I deserve the fucking benefits without having to work for it. And then we get to modern time. So I've bunched the last year down into a 17-minute, 18-minute thing, 18-minute video now. So I've bunched all of that down, and I've learned so much. I've learned so much about myself, and I've also learned that, in fact, victimizing yourself, and also who you surround yourself with as well. See, I want to go into who you surround yourself with, because this is a big thing. If you surround yourself with negative Nancys, you will forever be a negative Nancy. You will feed off of what those people say. You will start being like, oh, it's fine, I'm a victim, they're victims, I'm just going to get together with these people and just talk about how shit life is. That's a very bad attitude to have. You shouldn't have that attitude, because yeah, this world is a very harsh place, and it will eat you up, chew you up, and spit you out. Of course it will. You're not the first person that it's happened to, and you're certainly not going to be the last person it's happened to. You know, it's going to keep happening. It's just one of those things. But it's how you react. It's how you react to it all. If you react to it in a sense of, oh, I'm a victim, woe is me, you know, of course there's some situations in life that are going to cause you to grieve, and you're going to be very upset by them, but limit the time that you're going to be upset, because you're going to be wasting time. Now that sounds like a very harsh thing that I'm saying. It sounds very, very harsh, but trust me, it is for your own benefit, because if you carry on being a victim, your judgment's going to carry on being clouded. You're also going to start losing a lot of people who you were once friends with. You know, if you've had friendships with people, and that's ended in, you know, an argument or something emotional, then, you know, maybe if it's not the first time it's happened, and it's happened on you quite a few occasions, then maybe look inwardly, and maybe just start putting a little bit of the blame on yourself, and understanding that you can build the world around you, And when you start understanding that, you start gaining a significant amount of control over your mind and your surroundings. And once you start gaining that control, you can start gaining control of your thoughts, your anxieties, and just your fears in general, you know. I once went to an IKEA. Now, for those people that don't know what an IKEA is, it's just basically a big shop that sells like household things. And I went into this shop and it was so big and so vast, you know. And I walked in there and I started getting depersonalized. I started getting very anxious. I started shaking. I was sweating. I started panicking. You know, it was like something I could not have any control over, because once you start panicking, you're panicking. But you can stop that panic through breathing exercises and stuff like that. So that's what I was doing. I took off my mask. I remember people looking at me, because I think the mask in COVID, because I'm talking about back in COVID, you know, you had to wear a mask to these places. So when I had the mask on, I was very much limited with my face. I felt very restrained, so I had to get that off. I was putting it off. I think Tash was turning around to me, go, don't pull your mask off, don't pull your mask off. I was like, I've got to, you know, and that helped to get that fresh air coming in, you know. I just needed that to stop, because I was going to just start freaking out. I was going to start running. I just had an urge to run and get out of there. And, you know, because of that incident, I actually started avoiding shops. I started avoiding big shops. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, you know. And I'm happy to say that I actually went to a Costco the other day and I didn't have a panic attack. Now, there's one thing that I did do with this. Now, because I have dyslexia and dyspraxia and I'm somewhat on the spectrum, I actually used one of these AirPods and I stuck it in my ear like so, and it just dulled out the sound, because basically when you're somewhat on the spectrum, noises, colours and sounds can be very much enhanced, along with the like symptoms as well. So, you know, maybe my symptoms were so small, but they seemed really big to me. Same so with noises can be quite small, you know. It's something that not many people notice, but I notice a lot. If there's too many voices talking, I get very angry and very emotional, because I can't focus if there's too many things going on all at once. I have snapped at people when all people have been trying to talk to me all at the same time, and like, shut up. You know, of course that's happened. Um, so so yeah, and just to round it off, so I don't run out of memory and my phone just suddenly stops. I think that the overall lesson that I have learned, I'm still learning lessons to this day. So this may not be just the general overall thing rule. Let's say that this is not the general overall rule, because, like I said, I'm learning stuff all the time when it comes to this subject. But what I will stick by is that when you come down with anxiety and especially depression, if you've come down with these things, then I am in sole belief it is your body telling you something needs to change. Something needs to change. You're in a predicament, you're in a circumstance or a way of thinking. You may not be happy with your relationship, your work, whatever it is. My thing was, I was not happy with the way I was victimizing myself constantly. And the moment I changed that, I even changed my surroundings. I moved away from my home, living with my mother, because that was the place where I was with my ex, and that home holds a lot of memories, very fond memories from my childhood, and this has got nothing to do with my family. But unfortunately, when my ex moved in there and all that nasty stuff happened, of course, now I, you know, relate the room that I was once in to the room that me and my ex were in. So it holds some quite bad memories, bad energies in there. So a change of surroundings into a trailer, fresh start, new people, change my friendship circles, has done me the world of good. And I'm still learning, you know, I still can't say that I am 100% healed, but looking back on myself, how I was in 2022 to how I am now, I'd like to say it's been a very noticeable, significant change. And I'm coming towards the end of my... In fact, I don't even think there is an end to a journey, because you're probably going to be learning stuff your whole life. You just got to allow yourself to learn that and take those lessons on board and use them to your advantage to better yourself. And like, I'm going to just say this right now, do right by yourself and do right by God. I'm not going to hide the fact that I've had God on my side all this time. I remember even praying to God, asking him to make me stronger. Make me stronger, please. Please, Lord, you know, I need to be stronger. I need to be tougher. And God went, okay. Okay. Just like that. Okay. And he just done that because people are, when you see someone tough, let's say like a president of an MC, in my case I saw a president of an MC and I thought, wow, he's tough, I want to be just like him. And you're not just born tough, you've gone through experiences, situations, heartbreak, you've had your soul ripped from you by other people, you've been used, you've been crapped on by people, and you have just developed yourself over time to rise above that and to not let fakers and nasty, snaky, ratty like people into your life to jeopardize you. That's what's made you tough. It's not like in the movies, you know. This is very much real life, and that's how it is. So that's why God put me through that, to make me tougher. He was just answering my prayer. He gave me what I wanted. He's given me what I wanted, you know. So can't complain at that. And God is always saying. He's not even saying, he's showing me different things throughout life, and if you listen, you'll see him. That's all I can say. You'll see him, and you'll start noticing little lessons here and there that the Lord God is showing. So anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna end it. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, or this video, and I hope that you may have learned something from my story. I haven't got the answers to everything, so I may be able to answer some things in the comment section if they do arise, but I might not be able to answer everything. You just have to go on your own journey, but allow that journey. Don't be ashamed of that journey. Don't be afraid of that journey. Allow that journey to happen. Go through it. As Winston Churchill once said, if you're going through hell, might as well keep on walking. Might as well keep on walking, people. So keep on walking. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. We have some amazing movie content coming out. We also have just some amazing movies on the channel already. I think you might enjoy them. And trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. Let's try and make this happen, people. Let's make it happen, alright? Like I said, don't forget to subscribe, share. Just do what you can, people. It really helped me out. Anyway, peace out, people, and I shall see you later.